Welcome to Week and Geek, your new comics preview for July 10th. I'm Mike Ortiz.
And I'm the Chris Brown.
What do you got?
Well, I didn't put these in any semblance of order, so I'm going to go ahead and, I guess I'm winging this thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off with The Legend of Oz, Wicked West. This is issue number 9. I really like this book. I like the Western approach to the Oz myth. I think it's pretty cool. And I believe Dirk Manning is writing a little story coming up with issue 10.
Cool.
For this. This is cool. This is still Tom Hutchison writing at this point. And we like Tom. He's been on the show. Good dude. Then I've got The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. So this is Dark Horse Comics. This is, as it said before, written by Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance, but he also wrote The Umbrella Academy, which was really fantastic. A lot of comic fans were like, I'm not buying that nonsense and some weird girl band, blah, blah, blah. And it turned out it was really good. Now, this story is really strange. I'm not really sure what was going on in the first one. There was some kind of a group called the Killjoys, and there was a little kind of vagrant kid in some kind of an apocalypse that had a mask, and I don't know, weird. I'm not really sure what's going on, but I liked it.
Gerard Way is a big fan and friend of Grant Morrison.
Oh, all right. Imagine that.
It was at Morrison Con. They did a little public music spoken word thing together. So I would imagine.
Interesting. All right.
Imagine there's, as with a lot of Grant Morrison stuff,
some influence of weirdness there.
Yeah, you're not going to understand it right away sometimes.
All right. Then I'm looking at Exo Manowar. This is issue number 15. I really dig this book. This features the Eternal Warrior. Did we? You know what? I must have missed the last issue, because if we ended Planet Death, then I missed that ending. So I've got to go back. I think I'm an issue behind. But they've been incorporating the Eternal Warrior, and they've had him in Archer and Armstrong, and I think he was in something else. I like that. Do it slow. I think they are giving him his own book, which I don't know that he needs, but I do like the little appearances in other people's books. So, I guess, this is the first part of a new story arc, I suppose.
Cool.
Been fun stuff.
Everybody who gets that stuff loves it.
Yeah, it's been really good.
It may not be as popular as a lot of other books, but I've not heard a bad word said about any of this new Valiant stuff.
The old Valiant stuff, the people that liked it really have a soft spot. So when there was an opportunity for it to come back, I mean, sure, they could have really, dropped the ball, but I don't feel like they did.
Yeah. I
think they picked it up. They did a nice job revamping some of the characters. I don't love all the revamps.
Yeah,
as I've said, I'm getting used to Shadow Man. It was like getting a new pair of sneakers that I really loved, but they just weren't comfortable yet. And you got to kind of break them in. They hurt your feet for a while. That's kind of how Shadow Man was for me. But Exo Manowar and Harbinger have not missed a beat. I feel like those books have been totally solid, and I'm loving them. Then I've got, this is Daredevil number 28. It's got a kid on the cover here. I beat Daredevil on his t-shirt. This has just been a good, fun book. I really like what Mark Waid's doing with the character. This is art by Javier Rodriguez. Well, they've had a few different artists popping around. It has a similar vibe to it. Yeah. Like all the art feels roughly the same. It's all colored pretty much the same. Has that kind of kitschy, older comic feel to it. Kind of more like the 60s, 70s stuff.
It's very colorful, but it's colored flat. It doesn't have lens flares and lots of gradients. I mean, it's a little more old school looking.
And I like that. Daredevil's been a cool book. If you're not reading it, you should be. Which I think I should maybe just jump to this next one here. But this is also... Speaking of Daredevil and Mark Waid, this is Indestructible Hulk number 10. This is a crossover. This is Blind Rage Part 2. There was a story basically where the Hulk was doing something, needed an attorney, and his attorney is Matt Murdock. And Matt Murdock is the only person that can really calm him down. So there have been a few things, and Matt's trying to calm him down, but I believe someone with some kind of super hydro weapon has escaped, and of course they ended up in Josie's bar, and I think it was Josie's bar. It was at least something, reminiscent of. So now they've got to track down this super weapon, which ends up in the hands of Baron Zemo. And
who's the art on that?
Matteo Scalera.
Oh, okay. Not real familiar with him.
It's different. Looks almost more like Lionel Yu. Yeah. Kind of that scratchier sort of stuff. Like not quite Alexander Mayleave, a little bit more, more like Lionel Yu to me. Yeah. Looks great. Then this is a book that I keep falling behind on. However, Misty Knight. It's Fearless Defenders number 6. This is written by Cullen Bunn. I think I am an issue behind, but these covers are great. It's got a very pulpy kind of thing on this one with Fearless Defenders slapped across with which looks like weird stories. There's some going on with Zed Odin, or I don't know. Cool stuff though. I think it's I like to, at this point, like I said, I'm behind on the story, but I like the pictures and I like to look at Misty Knight. So that's where I'm at with that.
They should just call it Misty Knight Comics.
Yeah, for me, that's really all it is. Misty Knight Comics. That's, I think, why most people are buying it.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Then I've got this is an image number 1. This is a book called Ghosted by Joshua Williamson. Now, what else? Was he the guy that did Xenoholics with Seth DeMoose?
I don't know.
I think he did, and I liked that book. I have no idea what this is about, but
there was a preview of that in something.
Was there?
I saw not too long ago. Very, it's got a Sean Phillips cover, but it's a very kind of clean art on the inside.
Yeah, it has the coloring sort of looks like that Five Ghosts of Fabian Gray. Like, it's giving me a similar vibe. This looks like people staying in a haunted house, or I don't know, some kind of mercenary chick, and a dude who's tied up and
Image sure likes their ghosts these days.
Prison. If it sells, why not? I don't know. It's an image number 1. It's looks kind of interesting. Like I said, that Sean Phillips cover looks great. Kind of curious about that one. Then we've got Sheltered, a pre-apocalyptic tale, number 1. This is also an image book. This is co-created, written, and lettered by Ed Brisson, and co-created and illustrated by Johnny Christmas. Now, I have no idea what this book is about. The art does look good, though. Looks really clean, really cool stuff. I don't know, I really like the faces on these people. Again, no clue. It's an image number 1, which is, enough of a strength to get people to take a look. And I think this art is really strong. No clue what it's about, but I'm going to check it out. Then this is a book that always finds its way in my pile.
A former image number 1 that you took a shot with.
Yeah, absolutely, and nobody listened. And then now, the book's all over the place. This is Peter Panzerfaust, issue number 12. This is the second part of the current story arc. That first one was nice. It was a little quiet. This time our storyteller doesn't want to tell as much. Some of the other guys have been maybe a little boastful, this is what happened, we were out with Peter. Now, this time our storyteller is a little cagier. Some things might have happened. There was a mysterious box and a letter by the end of the last issue. I just think this has been some really cool stuff. I like this sort of reimagining of Peter Pan, because it's also, as I've said before, it's loyal to the historical stuff from World War II, but he just puts his characters where he needs them to be, and I think it's really cool. And I like the idea, where you've got people talking about their experiences, and again, each sort of story takes a different vibe because it's got one of the different Lost Boys telling you the story, and I like that. Cool. I think it works well for the story. Chew number 35. This is Bad Apples, part 5 of 5. This has been a really cool book. I mean, I believe this was this will be the end of the first story arc. That's the beginning of the end. Mm-hmm. So this has been some crazy stuff. Tony's back in the fray, and he's going after our energy vampire, and just some really cool, weird stuff. I love this book. Both he and his daughter are working on similar cases, but they're the same case from different angles, and Tony doesn't know. So this is just a cool book. I really dig it. It's got a weird cover. I guess they're going to go back to that cult, the anti-chicken cult.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That the woman standing there on top of a cliff with "Thou shalt not" and crossed out chicken. So if it's "Thou shalt not, no chicken," so are they saying you can't eat chicken?
I think they just don't understand the
double negatives. No one understands the double negative except Bill and Ted. Anyway.
I'm going to start off with Green Lantern animated series number 14. This is, set in that Green Lantern animated universe. It looks like we've got the Manhunters, which is what sort of closed out the series. If you like the show on Comedy Central, or Cartoon Network rather, and you're obviously not getting any more of that, this is the only place you're going to get it. This is a little bit more geared towards kids than the show was, which is why the show isn't on the air anymore.
Right.
So you're not going to get quite the same vibe, but definitely it's a different take, a lighter take, and all these are done in one sort of issues.
I'd like to point out that booming bass in the background is not that we're moving towards a genre change, but rather we've got construction out front of the store, so we're having fun with that.
2 turntables and a microphone in the back.
It's where it's at.
Next up, Superman Unchained, Scott Snyder, Jim Lee. This is the big gun book, Man of Steel time. Yes. The first issue was pretty solid. We find out that that a Superman of some sort has been in the DC universe for 75 years, and that the government has control of some sort of this 75-year-old superhero that we're going to find out a little bit more about. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that there has now been a superhero in the DC universe for as long as Superman has been in our universe.
Yes.
So kind of a nice little play on Superman's 75 years. And of course, Jim Lee's artwork, as always, is fantastic. This does not have the big, giant fold-out poster, but it's got some really sweet Jim
Did that feel a little unnecessary to you?
I actually never bothered unfolding it, so I never read those 4 pages, and I didn't miss them, so yeah. I think Jim Lee just wanted to show that he could draw the biggest comic book page ever or something. I don't know. Still good, though.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Next up, Green Lantern Corps, number 22. This is the second part of the kind of relaunch. I like the first issue a lot.
Okay, I didn't read it.
There was quite a pickup from where it had left off. This book had been a little directionless, kind of living in the shadow of the regular Green Lantern book.
Okay.
But this Van Jensen guy, who I'm not real familiar with, has just got a nice take, and I mean, this is really kind of what I've been looking for, a group, basically a space cop story.
Cool.
That's what I think has been missing from the Green Lantern books for a while. Doesn't kind of cross over in anything. It's just something's going wrong somewhere. Green Lantern's got to go fix it.
Okay.
And it's a formula that worked for 50-some years.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's good to see that back. Next up, Superior Spider-Man. This is the Doc Ock Spider-Man against the Spider Slayer. Looks like the Lizard is going to be teamed up with it. We got villains fighting villains. I don't know how long this is really going to last. I know he's changing his costume soon. Yeah.
And it's all tentacled, right? So
yeah, so it looks like Dr. Octopus. But, I never really made the connection that octopuses and spiders both are 8-limbed creatures. So it kind of makes a certain amount of sense. But let's just hope that this doesn't drag on too long, because now we kind of get it. He's a bad guy. He's doing bad things. He's making Spider-Man look bad. J. Jonah Jameson loves him.
It depends on what your definition of too long is.
But anyway, so that's Superior Spider-Man. Next up, Uncanny X-Men. Looks like we got Magneto versus Cyclops on the front here. This last storyline dealt with magic. Okay. And Limbo and Dormammu, and kind of taking the X-Men out of their element. But now it looks like we're back to the new Xavier Institute. Scott has taken the Xavier Institute name for his group of youngsters. So basically, they're training a new group of mutants. They consider them to be the good guys. Obviously, the regular X-Men consider them to be the bad guys. I know one of the mutants has decided he just doesn't want to be a part of it anymore, and they're still trying to talk him into staying. But a good book. Bendis is writing some good character stuff. I think I still like All New X-Men a little bit more.
I'm not reading Uncanny X-Men, but I really like All New X-Men.
But it's still a solid book. And I do like this kind of evil but not evil Cyclops. Although I'm not a big fan of Magneto in white. Kind of like the purple Magneto myself.
Me too.
But, oh well. He'll change back by the next movie, I think. Next up, Hawkeye, number 12. This is Matt Fraction and Francesco Francavilla.
Great
Fantastic artwork on this one. The last issue was kind of a strange issue, told from the perspective of the dog. I've not seen that before. Kind of neat.
Sure.
This has been a very experimental book. I don't know that I actually understood the dog's dialogue. Right. I don't know if that's the word for it. But now we're back to regular, normal speaking. And Daredevil.
That looks incredible.
Daredevil kind of protecting his building. Hawkeye, sorry. It looks like Daredevil.
Yeah, well, right.
But it actually is very Daredevil-esque, because
yes.
even though he's the Avenger, he's basically protecting the building that he lives in from the track-suited Russian mob.
Yes.
Which is
says
both
bro every third word.
Which, I mean, on one hand, is very funny, but then when these guys actually get kind of serious, they're dangerous people.
Yes.
So it's kind of an interesting take. Part of me still just keeps going, if he just called Iron Man, he could fix the whole thing. But, Clint Barton is going to call Iron Man. He's going to take care of it himself.
Of course.
There's no costumes in this book. It's not a superhero book.
Right.
It kind of defies explanation. But a really good book. Next up, East of West, number 4. I am caught up on this book.
Okay.
Still could not tell you quite what's going on. There's Horsemen of the Apocalypse. There's Death. Death has a wife who is a human who has got some special abilities. It's a weird alternate future.
Yes.
I'm not really sure how it all fits together, but it's still really good. Great artwork, great color. But Death, I guess, is going to find his former bride who he thought was dead. You'd think Death would know if somebody was dead.
You'd hope, unless there was an accounting error.
Yeah, I don't know. And in Hickman's world, I could see that being a possibility. I'm sure when this is all said and done, it will make sense. But at the moment, it's still good, but I just don't know what's going on. Next up, America's Got Power is number 6 of 7. I thought this was originally 6. So 7 will be out in a year or so. I don't remember what's going on here. The basic premise is kind of something happens and it gives a bunch of people some powers.
Right.
And then they kind of turn the powered people into an America's Got Talent type of game show, but they're secretly using the people to kind of weaponize them. Really neat story. Definitely feels like it's a movie or TV pitch, down to the fact that the lead scientist looks just like David Tennant, and the villain looks just like Sarah Palin. I don't know if they're really going to be able to cast her, but she's not doing a whole lot else.
Yeah, right.
Maybe they can get her in there before the next run for the presidency.
They wouldn't write dialogue any stupider than something she'd say herself.
Actually, this particular Sarah Palin is actually much smarter.
So they'd write better dialogue for her. Then she shouldn't be mad.
So yeah, I don't think
she should do it.
But still, overall, a good book, an interesting idea. This kind of postmodern superhero thing. It's just when it's months between issues, I can't remember what happened last time out.
Yeah, I have that problem as well.
Next up, Batman number 22. This is 0 Year Part 2. I liked the first issue of this a lot.
I did too.
This young Batman, this Batman that's kind of at the beginning of his career. Gotham thinks he's dead, and Batman's just kind of an urban legend. And then we get the introduction of kind of the Red Hood, who will go on to be the Joker, and the introduction of the Riddler.
Yes.
So this is supposedly this is not contradicting anything from Batman Year One, but it's going to just sort of fill in the gaps and give us kind of a different look. But fantastic artwork by Greg Capullo, solid stuff by Scott Snyder. This is really, really good book. 12 issues is going to be a long storyline.
Agreed.
But, if they're all as good as that first issue, count me in.
I thought it was fun, and I'm hearing people say some people didn't like it. Like the hardcore Batman fans didn't like it. The looser Batman fans are like, oh, I thought it was great. Like me, I'm not even a Batman fan. I liked it.
Yeah. And as has been pointed out, he wears purple gloves like he did in his first appearance back in Detective 27. So these guys are paying attention to their continuity. But I got a kick out of it. It may not be... I mean, it's not the Batman we all know and love, because this is how he gets to be that Batman.
Yes.
That's what an origin story is all about.
Right.
But anyway, good stuff.
So is that take me to the top of my stack here? All right, well, I'm looking at, this is one that always finds itself there almost every month. This is The Walking Dead 112. I'm really excited to see where this is going after last issue. I don't want to spoil anything, but Negan has a great moment where he questions somebody's, intestinal fortitude by saying they don't have guts, and then proceeds to stab them in the stomach, cut their guts out, and say, "Oh, there they are. Yeah, you did have them after all. Hey, can somebody find out where this jackass lives? I want to go play pool." Negan is such an evil SOB, but there's something. He's a fun villain to watch. Now, this on the cover has Negan holding, it looks like Negan's bloody knife and, his glove. And you've got Andrea and Carl there trying to defend things. So we'll see how that shakes out. I have not had a chance to read this. Usually I'm all caught up and read by the time we record this. I am not caught up, but I will be doing that as soon as we wrap. What do you got?
My top is Justice League number 22. It's been a while since the Justice League has kind of made it into the top of the stack. I think probably issue 1.
Oh, sure.
Or maybe certainly that first storyline.
This is the thing they've been building to for 2 years.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the Trinity War. I mean, they first teased it back in that Free Comics Day thing.
2 years ago. Not even this year, last year.
Yeah. So it's a crossover between the Justice League America, and Justice League Dark.
Okay.
It's got the Pandora, who has her own book now, Phantom Stranger, and The Question, I think.
Oh, cool.
It ties in with the gods or whatever that created Shazam. Actually, Shazam shows up in here, so this is kind of the backup story that's been running in Justice League and the main story kind of collide, and
cool.
Superman and Captain Marvel, or Shazam now, I don't think he's called Captain Marvel anymore, get to duke it out. Superman gets very angry and shoots things with lasers from his eyes. But yeah, this is the beginning of really the first big crossover for DC in the New 52. They've had like family crossovers. Right. I believe this is staying mainly in the Justice League titles, though.
I think there's is it might have just the Justice League titles? Okay.
But this is kind of the thing they've been building towards. Pandora was that character that popped up in all of the first issues. Yep. So this has been building for a while. Let's see if it's been worth it.
Right on. Yeah, she seems like she was their trap door.
Yeah.
In case they needed to go back, but now they're working towards whatever this is and whatever this does. Maybe it just solidifies everything.
Superman fighting the Martian Manhunter too. So yeah, we get some good new Dr. Light, new Question. This is it. Cool. This is kind of the big thing they've been building for 2 years.
So it looks like a great week for comics. Be sure to check these out at your local brick and mortar store, and be sure to check us out on YouTube. And that's your Week in Geek.